Welcome. If you're hearing this, I want you to know I didn't imagine what happened in that house. People think the attic is the quietest place in a home. It isn't. It listens. It remembers, and sometimes it calls you by name. It started the day I bought the old Briarwood house in Vermont, a 2-story colonial with flaking white paint, tilted porch steps, and a smell like old wood soaked in rain. It wasn't perfect, but it was cheap, and after the divorce, cheap felt like peace. The realtor said it needed a bit of renovation. That was an understatement. The floors creaked under every step, and some nights, when the wind blew just right, the house sounded like it was breathing. Still, it was mine. The first few weeks were calm. I worked from home during the day and fixed up the place at night. New paint, new wiring, even replaced the locks. Everything was fine until I opened the attic door. It was a narrow stairway at the end of the hallway. The door was painted shut. Took me an hour with a crowbar to pry it open. When I finally did, a wave of dust hit my face like smoke, and that smell came again, sharp and musty, like something that had been waiting too long. I climbed up with a flashlight, expecting cobwebs and boxes. Instead, I found one thing: a rocking chair. It sat in the center of the attic, facing a blank wall. Old wood, carved arms, the kind of thing you'd find in your grandmother's living room, except this one was moving. Just slightly, rocking back and forth, very slow. I froze. There was no breeze up there, no open window, but the chair kept moving like someone had just stood up and walked away. I called out, "Hello?" No answer. I told myself maybe rats had nested under it, maybe vibration from my footsteps. I sprayed some pest control around it, muttering like an idiot, trying to sound calm, and headed downstairs. That night, I dreamed of that chair, of someone sitting in it. Couldn't see their face, just the outline of a person rocking slowly, whispering something I couldn't hear. I woke up at 3:11 a.m. to a sound above me, wood creaking rhythmically like a heartbeat. I stared at the ceiling, half awake, heart pounding. It stopped after maybe a minute. I told myself I was imagining things. Next morning, sunlight poured through the kitchen window, and I almost laughed at myself for getting spooked. I grabbed a cup of coffee and decided to check the attic again, just to prove it was nothing. When I opened the door, the air was colder than the rest of the house. I climbed up slow, each step groaning. And there it was, the rocking chair, still facing that same wall. But now, there were deep scratches carved into the wooden boards in front of it. Long, jagged marks like someone had clawed at the wall. And between them, written in uneven letters, were 3 words, S-I-T. I dropped my flashlight. The sound echoed like a scream in that tiny space. I stumbled back, slammed the attic door, and locked it. For the rest of the day, I told myself someone had been up there before me, maybe the previous owner's idea of a sick joke. But that night, when I went to bed, I heard the chair again, rocking, softly, steady, like it was waiting. I didn't go back up there for 2 days. I tried to ignore the sound, tried to sleep with earbuds in, even left the TV running through the night just so the silence wouldn't swallow me. But no matter how loud the room was, I could still feel it, that faint rhythm from above, like the ceiling itself was breathing. On the 3rd night, I snapped. I went online, found the house's property history, and discovered it had been sold 6 times in 15 years. Every listing said the same thing. Owner moved suddenly. No one ever stayed longer than a year. I called the realtor. She sounded hesitant when I mentioned the attic. "Oh, that old place," she said. "Yeah, people always say it feels off up there. Just superstitions, you know how small towns are." But then she paused. Her voice dropped. "Don't move the chair," she whispered. "Whatever you do, don't move it." The line went dead. That night, I kept thinking about what she said. Don't move the chair. Why not? I needed to see for myself. I grabbed my flashlight, took a deep breath, and opened the attic door again. The air felt heavy, thick, almost wet. The rocking had stopped. When my light hit the chair, I noticed something new. There was dust everywhere, except on the seat. Someone had been sitting there. Recently, I took a slow step forward. The wall still had the word "sit" carved into it, but now the scratches around it looked fresh. The wood splintered, tiny flakes still hanging loose, like it had been done that day. I crouched to look closer and froze. My name was scratched faintly below it, Mark. I stumbled backward so fast I nearly fell through the attic stairs. I slammed the door shut again, breathing hard, trying to convince myself that I must have done it. Maybe I'd scraped my name there when I was cleaning. Maybe I just didn't remember, but that didn't explain the dust. Or the fact that the next morning the attic door was open. I didn't touch it. I didn't even walk near it. I called my friend Ben, a local contractor, to come check it out. He laughed at me at first. "You're freaking yourself out, man. Probably raccoons. Or you're just losing it living alone." He came over that evening with a toolbox and a six-pack. We climbed the stairs together, joking about ghosts like two idiots trying to sound brave. When I pushed the attic door open, Ben stopped mid-step. "Jesus," he muttered. "You didn't tell me it looked like this." The chair was rocking again. No wind, no sound, just that rhythmic creak. And there was something lying on the seat, a small, gray piece of fabric. Ben picked it up. It looked like part of a shirt sleeve, torn clean off. He frowned. "This looks old." Before I could answer, he walked toward the wall. "What the hell is this?" he said, pointing at the carvings. "Did you do this?" "No," I said. "That's how I found it." He ran his fingers over the word "sit." Then suddenly, the chair stopped moving. Just stopped. The silence was so thick I could hear my pulse in my ears. Then, very slowly, the chair turned. It turned by itself, inch by inch, until it was facing us. Then cursed and dropped the fabric. "Okay, that's enough ghost crap," he said, forcing a laugh that didn't sound real. "Let's go." We backed away. But just before I shut the door, something hit the inside wall. Hard. 3 knocks. We didn't stick around. We went downstairs, opened beers, and sat in the living room, both pretending not to be scared. "Man," Ben said finally, "you should just burn that thing. Seriously, throw it out." "I tried," I said. "It won't move." He blinked. "What do you mean, it won't move?" "I tried to lift it the first day I found it. It's heavy, like bolted down." Ben frowned. "All right, tomorrow I'll bring tools. We'll rip it out together." That night, I didn't sleep. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the attic started creaking again, but this time, it wasn't just the chair. It sounded like footsteps pacing slowly from one side to the other, back and forth, then stopping directly above my bed. Morning came too slow. I sat in the kitchen, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sunlight to make everything feel normal again, but daylight didn't help. The attic was still there, still waiting, like a weight pressing down on the house. Ben showed up around 9 with his toolbox and a forced grin. "Ready to evict your ghost chair?" he said, trying to sound casual. I laughed, but my voice cracked. We went upstairs together. Every step groaned under our boots, and when I pushed open the attic door, a gust of air hit us, cold, stale, and heavy, like a cellar that hadn't been opened in years. The chair was still there, dead center, facing us this time. Not the wall. "U.S., Ben whistled low. "You sure you didn't move it?" I shook my head. The wood floor around it looked darker, like something wet had soaked into it overnight. Ben crouched down and grabbed the chair arms. "Okay, let's get this freak show out of here." He pulled. Hard. It didn't move. He frowned, adjusted his stance, and pulled again, using both hands this time. The wood creaked, but not the floor, the chair. Then he gasped and jumped back. What the hell? He held up his hand. Blood. A thin splinter had jabbed deep into his palm. Jesus, it bit me. He snapped, wrapping a rag around the wound. The chair slowly started rocking again on its own. 1, 2, 3 slow creaks. Ben looked at me pale. You saw that, right? I nodded. He swallowed. Mark, man, this is messed up. We're not just dealing with bad wiring or wood expansion. This feels wrong. He went downstairs to get his crowbar. I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe I was frozen. Maybe I needed to understand what was happening. The rocking stopped. Then I heard something faint, a whisper, right behind me. It sounded like a woman's voice. Soft, broken. Sit down. I spun around, flashlight trembling, nothing. But when I turned back to the chair, there was something on the seat, a small, yellowed photograph. I picked it up. It was a picture of a woman sitting in that same chair. Early 1900s, maybe. Black dress, pale face, sharp eyes. The back of the photo had a handwritten note. Margaret Briarwood, 1913. Loved her home too much to leave. I felt my stomach drop. Briarwood. That was the name of the street. Ben came back a minute later, crowbar in hand. Let's end this. He jammed the bar under one of the chair legs and pushed down. A long crack echoed through the attic. Then, silence. We both stared. The chair tilted slightly, then snapped upright again, and then, slowly, it started turning. Not rocking. Turning, rotating on the floor like something unseen had grabbed it by the back. Then stepped back, swearing under his breath. The chair spun until it faced the wall again, the wall that said sit. Then it stopped. For a long time, we didn't move. The air felt alive, buzzing like the house was holding its breath. Then finally muttered, I'm done. You do what you want, man, but I'm not dying in this attic. He packed up his tools and left before I could say anything. The moment his footsteps vanished down the stairs, the attic felt darker, heavier. I looked at the chair again. It wasn't moving, but the seat cushion, it was darker than before. Like something had soaked into it. I turned to leave, and then I heard it faint right behind me. The sound of breathing, slow, shallow, coming from the chair. I turned around, flashlight shaking, and saw the chair still, completely still. But in that second, I caught a glimpse, just a flicker, of someone sitting there. A pale figure, hair hanging low, hands gripping the armrest tight. Then gone. The flashlight flickered and went out. The attic dropped into darkness. I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping cold air, staring up at that tiny attic window, and for a split second, I saw the rocking chair silhouetted there, rocking slowly, and someone sitting in it. I didn't go back inside that night. I slept in my truck, engine running, headlights on the porch. But around 3 a.m., I saw movement in the upstairs window. The curtain shifted, and a hand pressed against the glass, pale, thin, and shaking. I didn't go back into the house for 2 days. I stayed at a motel off Route 7, trying to tell myself it was all in my head. Stress, insomnia, isolation. But every night, right around 3 a.m., I could hear it in my mind. That slow, wooden creak. Like the sound had followed me. On the third day, I decided to face it. I told myself I'd record everything, get proof, show someone. I packed a flashlight, my phone, and a hammer, and drove back to the house at dusk. The moment I opened the front door, the air felt wrong. It wasn't just quiet, it was listening. Every floorboard groaned like it was warning me not to move. The attic door was open, wide open, as if it had been expecting me. I climbed slowly, heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Halfway up, I smelled it. That same musty, sour scent of old cloth and damp wood. When I reached the top, I froze. The chair was facing me again. Only this time, someone was sitting in it, It was the woman from the photograph, Margaret Briarwood. Her black dress hung in tatters, her face gray like paper. Her eyes were open, wide, glassy, and her mouth moved slightly, like she was whispering, but there was no sound. I stood there, trembling. My flashlight shook in my hand, the beam flickering across her hollow face. "Who are you?" I said, my voice cracking. She didn't answer. She just pointed slow and stiff to the wall. The word "sit" was still carved there, deeper now, like someone had gone over it again and again. Right below it, new letters were scratched into the wood. "Stay." The room went cold. My breath fogged in front of me. The chair creaked once. Then her voice finally came, not through her mouth, but through the air itself. A whisper, so close it felt like it came from inside my head. "Don't leave me again." I stumbled backward. "What do you want?" The house groaned, the floorboards shuddering like something heavy moved under them. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone else was coming up. It was Ben, or at least I thought it was. He stepped into the light, but his face, it wasn't right. His eyes looked hollow, his clothes damp, his skin pale like he'd been in water too long. "I told you," he said softly. "You can't move the chair." I shook my head. "Ben, what happened to you?" He smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "She needs someone to stay, someone to keep her company." Then, as I backed toward the stairs, the door slammed shut behind me, hard enough to make the whole attic shake. I turned, pulling on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. When I looked back, Ben was gone. Only the chair remained, empty now. Rocking slowly, I felt something grip my shoulder. Cold fingers, tight. I turned, screaming, no one there. The flashlight fell from my hand, rolling across the floor. Its beam landed on the wall behind the chair. For the first time, I saw it clearly. The wall wasn't wood. It was covered in carvings, hundreds of names etched deep into the surface. All of them different, all of them overlapping, fading into one another. And at the very bottom, freshly scratched, was mine. Marker Hensley. The chair stopped rocking. The whisper came again, louder now, desperate. "Sit." I don't remember deciding to move. My body just obeyed. I took one slow step forward, then another. The air felt thick, every breath harder than the last. When I reached the chair, I felt warmth rising from the seat, like someone had just gotten up. I sat down. The moment I did, everything went silent. The air froze. My body stiffened. My heart hammered once, twice, and then it slowed. The attic grew darker. The edges of the room folded into shadow. Then I saw her, standing where I had been, smiling faintly. Her eyes soft now, calm. "Thank you," she whispered. The world tilted. I felt myself sinking, not through the floor, but through the chair, like the wood itself was swallowing me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out, just darkness. And the faint rhythmic sound of wood creaking back and forth, back and forth. They found my house 3 months later when the mortgage went unpaid. The attic was empty, no chair, no carvings, no body. Just a faint groove in the floorboards, a spot where something heavy had rocked for years, and the wall. Under the dust, faint and uneven, one new word was scratched into it. "Welcome." Soft creak fades, then silence. The end.